Hi folks, just a quick video. So I messaged the pastor locally about prayer. And the most important point that I made is that you've got to understand the point. Because you've got different types of prayer, being, your relationship with God, just normal praying, about your walk. And, praying for other people, putting your hands on people, that type of praying as well. And, if someone is in a different country, there's a different type of praying for that. Yes? Okay. Yeah. But what actually happens when you pray in those ways? What actually happens? So, what's the point of praying about your walk with God? What's the point of that? There's a point of that. What's the point of praying for someone, putting your hands on them? What's the point of that? Something happens, so what actually happens? And when you're praying for someone in a different country or a different area, when you can't actually go to that person and pray for them, then what happens then? What's the point of that? And then I said, the problem with that is, if you think the biggest point was about salvation, then you think the point of praying in different ways is completely different than if you think the point was about the church, or if you think the point is about relationship, as in relationship with God. What you think the biggest point is, the biggest reason that Father sent his Son, what was the biggest reason? What is the biggest point of him doing that? There is a lot of reasons, a lot of points, but what's the biggest point for that? If you understand the biggest point, the reason, then you can understand more about the reasons why we pray in different ways and what happens. And that is true. Again, the more you understand, the more you understand. That's just truth. When you understand more about this, you understand more about other things. It works. Well, earlier I was just thinking about how I am now and how I was before. And things like depression. Most of my depression is gone because now I understand more. So therefore, before I was getting stressed more and depressed more about what's happening. Now, no, not anymore. Because I know it's not my job right now to do anything about it. So if I can't do anything about it, what's the point of being stressed about it? Or even thinking about it, really. There's no point. If I can't do anything about it, there's no point being depressed or stressed about that situation. Can I do anything more than I've done already? If the answer is no, then okay. I've done everything I can. So therefore, in the past I was depressed and stressed about things that now I don't care about at all. So that's the reason why when you understand more about this, you understand more about that. So, yeah. It does work. And so with God, that is very much the truth. God, okay, if he wants you to go over there, right over there, he might make you go a different area first to understand something that you need to understand first to go over there. So, yeah. Yeah. And as I say, all of it is absolutely beautiful because I say, when you understand those things, it is lovely. It is lovely to understand. Yes. But yeah. Here we are in that situation. And it's cool. So, yes. Any questions? Feel free. Feel free. Feel free to ask because, yes, I'll be happy to help. But again, yeah, prayerfully, as in go to the Father about what you want to ask. Or if he wants you to ask. Again, earlier I was thinking about the car. And if someone was going to offer, and straight away I said to God, no. Because now I understand. Now I understand more than I did before. Now I understand if it's going to cost 2,500 for me to drive again, okay, and someone knows and they think, okay, I've got the money so I can help and it will make me happy to help, right? I don't care if it's going to make you happy right now to help. Because I know that if you go to the Father and the Father says to you, I only want you to pay 1,000 because I've got another person that want them to pay 1,500. So therefore, if you pay 2,500, then that's a problem. Because the Father only wanted you to pay 1,000 and the other person to pay the rest. So now the other person can't pay the rest because it's done. Therefore, you wanted to do it because it makes you happy right now because you helped someone. Okay. But if you did exactly what God told you to do, it would make you more happy to know you did that. Yes? Because now you've blessed God by doing that. Blessing God is bigger than blessing me. And I understand now that's the point. Helping people to go to the Father because then they can understand more themselves. And they can do what he wants them to do and be blessed by that. So there you go. I will speak to you later. Bye-bye.